You ready, bro? Ready to go for a rip in the Evo? What is up, my Evo friends and family? Welcome back to the channel. Before we get cracking on today's video and truly, once and for all, fixing the Evo 8, I want to let you guys know about the latest Boston apparel release. It is now live, and if you're watching this video, you probably like Evo 8s. I dropped 2 t-shirts, one light gray, here's the front, and the back. The back design is super cool. It is an Evo 8 with JDM headlights, JDM taillights, and in the background, the squiggly lines, if you look closely, it's actually the diagram and the layout of a 4G63, which of course is the motor out of an Evo 8. We have the T in light gray like I showed, and in black. Looks very, very nice on the black. And the hoodie, black hoodie, same design, beautiful design. I freaking love it. The shift knobs. I worked on these shift knobs for quite a while. I'm pretty proud of them. 540 grams, pure stainless steel. Very, very, very high quality shift knobs. I have them in M10 by 1.25 and M12 by 1.25. So for the Subaru and for the Evo people, and if you're running an STI with the reverse lockout, or any car with the reverse lockout, it does have the machined out section for that reverse lockout. So they will work on STIs. First link down below. As always, every order over $150 here in the domestic United States does get free shipping. Good morning, Piston. Good morning, Evo. So today, we got 2 things going on. 2 separate cars, 2 separate projects, 2 separate issues. First issue, alternator on the Evo 8. We should be able to get that handled. I hope that's the actual issue of the car. Car is seeing anywhere from like 12 to 16 volts. So I'm suspecting the regulator inside of the alternator has gone bad, the voltage regulator. And then the second issue is our 05 STI. So I gave that car away about a week ago and it's finally getting picked up tomorrow. Shout out to transport for the delays. But there's one issue left I need to take care of on that car today, and that is a turbo failure. Turbo failure, that ain't a fun problem. Alternator should be an easy thing. Alternator is like 2 volts on an Evo 8 at least. And turbo replacement on an 05 STI, my friend, is like 15 crusty, rusted on bolts. Piston and I decided to take the Evo 8 for a rip this morning. I gotta go pick up the replacement turbo for the STI so we can get it installed. This dude is so good in cars, man. He's so good. Bobby and I went on a road trip in the new truck over the weekend. We took off, was it the night of my birthday, and then we were just gone for a night. And it was fun. Got a couple, maybe 1,000 miles stacked on the new truck, on the new setup. And we were at Piston, and he sleeps so good in the back of the truck. Ain't that right, brother? Ain't that right, brother? 10 weeks old today. All right, picked up my new turbo. This is a super low mileage OEM unit off of a 2019 STI. So it's a bit of an upgrade as well, which of course I would highly recommend tuning for. That motor is brand new, so it needs to be broken in properly before the car is turned up a bit. But this should be a nice, non-smoking, no shaft play, no cracks unit for the 05 STI. Let's get her on the lift. We got a Type R to move. We have a Lamborghini to move. And we can get the STI up on the lift for the very, very last time. Today's the last time you guys are going to see the car. How sad. I guess I've never showed you guys how this car sounds. So enjoy the first cold start for the boys. V10 Lambo with a full titanium exhaust pipe. I mean, there is a chance that a brand new motor's toast but I doubt it. If I pull this intercooler and she's full of oil, I'm assuming it is because there's oil coming out of the BOV, that I'm guessing our turbo smoked. Oh yeah, that's a decent amount of oil. The 10 seconds it took to get the car in the lift made everything extremely warm. So in the meantime, I'm actually gonna go ahead and swap out the rear brakes. I ordered new pads and rotors. They did not arrive with the fronts, but they're finally here. I know I feel like I'm going a little bit overboard for a car that I gave away for free, but I want the new owner to be able to enjoy this thing problem-free. Being that both pad and rotor are being replaced, which means I don't care about the pads or the rotors, before I pull either, I'm just cramming in a flathead in between the pad and the rotor and getting those pistons pushed back into the caliper so everything can go on easily. Probably a little bit of life left on these guys, well, quite a bit, but might as well replace them. All right, there we have it. New pads and rotors installed. Let's go ahead and get that turbo swapped out. So we already have the intercooler off. We need to remove the downpipe. Bolt here, 2 bolts here, O2 sensor here. And then up top, we have 5 pieces of hardware, 3 nuts and 2 bolts holding the downpipe to the turbo. And as soon as you have all 5 pieces of hardware off, up top, the 3 down below, and the O2 sensor unplugged, you should be able to just simply remove the downpipe. Now we have the oil feed line right there. We have the coolant feed. We have a coolant return down below. The oil return, we don't really need to disconnect. If we just pull up on the turbo hard enough, that'll pop off. And then we'll have 3 nuts holding the turbo to the up pipe. Last thing will be 1 clamp holding it to the turbo inlet tube, and the turbo will come off. Usually a smoked turbo would have all sorts of shaft play, but this one has none. So it's a little bit worrisome that the turbo is actually fine and something else is going on. But nonetheless, let's get this new turbo installed, fired up, and see if that takes care of our problem. All right, new turbocharger is installed. Let's go ahead and hit one last drive. Make sure this thing does not continue to blow smoke and oil out the exhaust. Well guys, I didn't see any smoke. I don't know if you guys saw any smoke, but I didn't see any smoke. This thing is good to go. Ready to head on out to the new owner. With that thing out of the way, let's pull in the Evo 8 and finally, once and for all, fix the issue with the alternator. All right, you guys already know the issue of the Evo 8. We've been chasing it down for a few weeks now. In this box is the alternator. I picked this guy up from my current used Evo parts man, the Evo Grim Reaper. It's where we got our power steering rack from, and that thing was solid. So I'm confident this is a good alternator as well. Now, 2 things with our current alternator that is on the car. First off, I pulled that thing apart to Cerakote the housing. So is there a chance that I messed it up? Yeah, there is. Second thing, it does have a titanium, like a lightweight pulley on it, and I'm pretty sure it's a bigger pulley than factory. So I don't know if that's messing with anything, but regardless, I'm just gonna take this known good used unit Hopefully it's clean and not all corroded. And just slap it on the car. Oh yeah, she's pretty clean. Dang. Hopefully that's still usable. The plug, the clip, is completely shattered. That sucks. Here's all the pieces for it. All right, I got another used alternator on the way. This is an OEM unit. I'm very, very curious. It's only 2 bolts to get this guy swapped out. So I'm gonna go ahead and slap this one on the car and see if it actually fixes our problem. Just so I know if that's the actual problem. Now I agree, this is probably a little bit of a waste of time, but I would say 20 minutes, we should be able to get this guy swapped out. All right, to get this alternator off, we gotta pull off the serpentine belt. And then we have the upper bolt right there, that zinc plated gold bolt right there. And then there will be 1 bolt underneath. Of course, when you work on starters or alternators or anything of the sort, make sure you disconnect the battery. The 2 easy bolts that were easy to get to are removed and the alternator is loose, but now we have a problem. There's no space up top to fish it out, no space underneath, unless we pull off the passenger side CV axle. That's not very fun. It was about to be a 10-second install, and now it's like a long install. Now my thought is, if I just disconnect the lower ball joint like I did, is that gonna be enough to swing the whole entire wheel and everything out of the way, enough to get the CV dropped out of the way? Let's give it a shot. That's something I've definitely never tried before, but it might save us some time. Sheesh. Well, that worked, but now our stupid freaking downpipe is in the way. This is how every project goes, I swear. You think it's gonna be a few minutes, and then it's like, oh, to pull EVO alternator, let's pull the motor pretty much. It's so close to coming out with the downpipe in. So close, but I don't think it's going to. What a joke. Finally got her out. At this point, if this wiring connector just plugs in and clips in and seems fine, I'm just gonna leave it. Who would have thunk they would make it so hard to swap an alternator? I feel like I should know this. So the car's all back together. We should know within a few seconds of firing this thing up if the problem is fixed. If it's not fixed, then I don't know. But if it is fixed, well, I guess that means we know. Sick of dealing with this issue. So watch the battery and the brake light right there. Come on, no way. No way. Alternator was good the whole entire time. What is the freaking problem? The only thing I can think of, the Haltech controls the ECU, or the alternator. I don't remember having this problem on the stock ECU. I might go back and watch videos, but I don't remember having this problem on the factory ECU. I am pleased to announce the car is finally fixed. So what I did is I called Haltech earlier, spoke to the US office, and they pretty much said, swap out the alternator, which we already did, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I talked to the Australian office, and those folks went and remote programmed in somehow on my computer, adjusted all the settings for the alternator control. Now check this out. Check this out. If we hop in the good old Evo 8 and fire old girl up, y'all ready for this? I freaking knew. I knew it was alternator control issues on the Haltech. Alternator was fine the whole time. Fire old girl up. Watch it start flashing now. You see that? You freaking see that? Bam. Bam. Alternator issue is fixed. That was the last issue we had before we could actually tune this car. Now we do need to fix this. Our wideband sensor took a dump. Now a little pro tip, if you're running an AEM wideband, which I know I have the Elite 2500, I could just go to the Haltech wideband WB1 sensor setup, but I already had the AEMs in the car. So if you're running an AEM wideband gauge on your car and your sensor burns out, do yourself a favor and head to your local auto parts store and pick up one of these guys right here. Sorry, I'm so freaking jittery on the camera right now. I'm just hyped that my car's fixed. Part number 17212. This is a OEM Bosch unit. And the good thing about getting these from the auto parts store is they have a really good warranty. So if it burns out, you just bring it back to them and say, yo, it burned out. This is the one you need if you're running the 4.9 AEM a wideband sensor in your car. So I got to get this swapped out. A wideband will be fixed. The alternator's fixed. Power steering's fixed. There's nothing else to fix on the car. Does that mean we could actually finally tune it, enjoy it, drive it, and stack miles on it? I think it does. Let's get this guy installed. Big shout out to Haltech, Aussie office. I really appreciate the help. New sensors installed, and we are back in action, boys. When I say that the OEM AEM sensor goes out a lot, I'm not lying. I have 5 AEM sensors here. All of these are bad. Man, AEM's got to step it up. So that wideband sensor was shot, and then I just spent a couple minutes diagnosing the oil pressure gauge, checked over all the wiring, checked over the power, the ground, everything. And then I ended up taking out the gauge itself out of my Evo 10, put it in here, and lo and behold, bam. The gauge itself went bad. So now we should have a complete interior. No weird lights on the dash, working wideband, working oil pressure. We got a lot of random things figured out on this car today, and I could not be more excited for it. Let's go on a drive. Man, oh man, does it feel amazing to have this thing back outside, knowing that pretty much all the issues are taken care of. Just listen to the lope. I'll stop talking. It sounds so good. You know what? For maybe the second time in this car's existence, I'm gonna drive it home tonight. That's how much I'm missing this car, man. Ah, this feels good. Complete functioning setup all the way. Working gauges, working cluster. Everything freaking works, man. Everything. The amount of little, I guess big and little issues we've had to take care of with this car, of course being like a ground up restoration. We had all the trigger sync errors or issues with the Haltech, so we had to pull the motor, do the new trigger system, issues with the rear main seal, non-stop issues with the power steering rack, issues with the alternator, and now we're pretty much good to go. 6,500 wheel on ethanol. That's gonna be enough for this car. Not a big setup at all. What did we do? A 58 mil turbo? 57, 58 mil, I forget what it was. Not a big fuel system, not a big motor, not a big cam. Just a nice, simple, perfect, literally perfect daily driver. 2.3 liter stroker, 58 mil turbo. It's gonna spool fast and it's gonna rip and be reliable at this power level as well. We don't gotta worry about going through clutches and axles and diffs and motors and trans and transfer cases. It's just a good setup. You know, it is tempting to go balls to the walls on like the power side of things, kind of like I do with all the cars, especially more in the Honda realm of things. But just knowing how crazy it would be with like a forward-facing turbo setup, hood dump, big old set of cams, it'd be insane. Sequential. It looks like I got a sequential now, but I don't. This thing rips. Well guys, gonna go ahead and wrap up the video right here. We need a tune, some tint, and maybe a black roof. And this project's done, 100% done. Unless I just had to change up the setup, which I don't foresee me doing. But I might. But I doubt it. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you have a Haltech ECU and you're having alternator issues, phone in to the Australian Haltech tech support. They'll get you taken care of in a second. Just put 3 miles on it, light free on the dash, and yeah, they definitely know what they're doing. It's hard for me to understand like the PIDs and everything in the Haltech setup, but they obviously do, and they got it sorted. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out, and I'll see ya tomorrow when we probably work on the new Lamborghini. Got some mods for that car, and I'm excited to build it. I was gonna do it today actually, but I ran out of time.